Welcome to Martini Time. So we're working on our 4th of July weekend, and so usually at this time of the year I get very metaphorical about the 4th of July, and because to me it's a celebration of a historical event, the Declaration of Independence, liberation from the king in England, but it's also simultaneously a celebration of our own awakening to freedom. But that subjective awakening is not a historical awakening. It's always awakening now. See, the historical awakening in time, like if I say I am awakened, I had an awakening, I awakened, I had a big experience and I was awakened. Well, that would be in time. That would be like celebrating the 4th of July in time. So I'd be celebrating my awakening. But that's not the awakening I'm talking about. That's not the freedom I'm talking about here. So this celebration is jubilant. It's shock and awe. You go to these displays and you lie on the grass and you look up at the explosions and you go, ooh, ah, and it goes and builds like a symphony to a crescendo, to a finale. You see, or you have a little one, but the big ones are really whoa, whoa. You can hear the crowd go whoa. You see, so what's going on? You see, what that is a celebration of not only a historical moment, but it is a reenactment of a spiritual moment that we are potentially capable of. So we're all in the process of awakening to freedom from what? Well, the 4th of July was the Declaration of Independence from the past, from the king, from England, from 2,000 years of English history, or how many thousands of years? 3,000 years. You see, the people, the Americans that revolted against England were Englishmen. You know, they weren't Spaniards, or there was English. These were Englishmen that would come over here to this country to create a new England. The past, you see. But there was a separation between America and England, and a tension grew. So the tension grew to the point where America broke off like an iceberg up in Greenland. It's breaking off. It broke off and said, I'm free from this past. I'm free. I liberate myself from the history, from the king. And this is what Buddhism is about. When Buddha awoke, now again, Buddha is not a person, but a metaphor, and the teaching is the Buddha. So, and the teaching is timeless. So if we reference everything to a historical Buddha, like we do in Christianity, to a historical Christ, you see, it's like referencing everything to the 1776. That's the only birth of freedom. I can't have a birth of freedom now because it happened back in the past. So Buddha did not happen in the past. Buddha's awakening or Declaration of Independence was not something that happened in the past. It's something that's potentially available now, you see. Potentially now. Available to everybody. In prison or out of prison. Whatever the historical conditions are, the Declaration of Independence is available. Now, the Declaration of Independence is a declaration of independence from my past, if we're talking about it subjectively. And what is my past but a burden, a conditioning, a karma, an inertia that carries me forward on its wave, reenacting my old pains and grievances, trying to restore justice, trying to settle the score. We watched these. We just finished it. The last Netflix series on Shetland. I really recommend it. They had 3 seasons, and there's going to be another one. It takes place on the Shetland Islands. Great photography and mood. And but all of the British mysteries have this common theme, and that is that the murderer, you can't figure the murderer out until the very end, and even the detective is surprised, because the murderer has a secret grievance, some pain in the past that is eating at them like a cancer. And so they end up by they always say, well, I had no choice. They end up by having no choice from their point of view but to kill the person that gave them the pain, to restore justice and to be free from the past. So this is murder, is a the mysteries are all about a misplaced liberation from the past. In other words, they feel that the only way that can be liberated from the pain of their past is by killing the person that caused the pain. And that will restore justice and return everything to zero. Balance, you see. Of course, it never does. Because the pain, the cause of the grievance is not in history. It's not in the past. It's not in another person. So this is what Buddhism Zen is all about, the Buddha Dharma. It's about the Declaration of Independence from the grievances I hold in my past and the feeling of being a victim of time, of history, of the world, even my own actions, you see. So this Declaration of Independence is a joyous jubilation, the lion's roar of Buddha, when he awakened free from the tether of time, free from the bondage of history and its pain and its great burden, you see. So mankind moves under a great burden of his own history. Individually, we have the great burden of our own history and the pain and the grievances and the slights and the hurts and our own guilt for hurting other people. You see? And then collectively, we have the pain of the past and the guilt of our sins. Like for America, slavery. We're still trying to get out from under that guilt, from under that pain, you see. So a collective accumulates the weight of historical pain and passes it on from each generation to generation. And each family, the child comes into a family and inherits the pain of the family and then reenacts that pain and passes it on to his children. So pain is passed on like a rolling stone until one individual says enough. It stops here. The pain stops here. I will turn and I will see the pain face to face, not as who caused it, but inside. I'll accept it. I'll take the pain. I'll accept it. Doesn't that sound like Christ? Takes the sins of the world upon himself. You see? But this is a metaphor. It's not like, oh, I don't have to do anything. Jesus did it for me. No, you got to do it. You see, you got to do it yourself. That's what following the way of Jesus means. You don't follow and wear sandals and a white robe and go around and wash people's feet. That's not what it is. It's taking your pain upon yourself and dissolving it because you accept it. When you turn and see the pain as pain, it dissolves. You accept it. It dissipates because you're not holding a grievance anymore. You're not holding it. You're not avoiding it. You're not blaming it. You're not trying to manipulate it. You're not trying to get out of it. You say, no, I'm done. Let me feel it. Let me feel the pain. You see. Let me accept it. I stop running here. I will fight no more forever. You see. Here it ends, you see. And that's the Declaration of Independence. When Buddha says, I'll sit under this tree until I'm awakened and see the cessation of suffering. And so what did he say after 45 years of teaching? He says, all I taught was suffering and the cessation of suffering. Pain and the cessation of pain. And so the Declaration of Independence, for me, is a Janus god. It's got two faces. It's got the face of history and the national celebration of a particular event that created America. But even for America, there is a spiritual significance for it because America was created fresh. A new being, a new nation, a new idea. But this was not done once in the past, and now we can just rest on its laurels, just rest on the sacrifice of the revolutionaries, just rest on the cross of the Revolutionary War. No, America has to reenact the Declaration of Independence, not ceremonially, but by living the Declaration of Independence over and over again. Because history accumulates pain. Pain accumulates. We're in a great deal of pain right now because we've accumulated, since World War I, we kind of like got washed clean of the pain of the Depression. And then there was a fun time of the 50s, and then it all began to fall apart again. And we began attacking each other. The nation divided and inflicted pain on each other. And that pain still continues, you see. And for some, it goes back and reenacts the pain of the Civil War. That never went away. That's kind of like what came out in the 60s was the pain of the Civil War, with the civil rights and the black rights and the resistance against it. That's still going on. There has been no Declaration of Independence from that. There has been no national acceptance of the responsibility for our pain. They're still blaming it. You did it. No, you did it. You did it. No, you did it. Obama did it. Nancy Pelosi did it. Trump did it. You see how it just keeps getting kicked down the road? We don't stop and say the pain ends here. And accept the responsibility for the pain instead of blaming it on other people, you see. And so this is the real Declaration of Independence, is when you do that. And we do it a lot in our own personal lives when there is a healing in a relationship in a family. That's a Declaration of Independence. The fireworks are going off. Boom! There's wonder. Oh my God. I do love you, you know. And there's a healing, you see. So the Declaration of Independence is a healing. It's a healing of the civil war of man against man, family against family. And it's a healing of I against time. So when I am free from time, I'm free from the grievance of time. And there's no more murder mystery. There's no more seeking who did it. There's no more trying to solve the problem of the world. When I'm liberated from the grievance of the past, there is no problem. You're just here. And it's always fresh and clean. No, stuff happens, but it's always happening fresh. It's not happening like the inertia of a semi-tractor trailer, you know. It's not a dump truck dumping my pain on me. Oh my God. Well, yeah. It's just fresh stuff, and you clean it up as you go. You wash the dishes as you go. You sweep the floor as you go. You break something, you sweep it up. You keep it clean on the go. But as soon as you start accumulating it, you see, it starts to build up in the unconscious, and it becomes the pain of the past. Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body, and it comes up to feed, and you have to feed it your soul, and you become a slave to your own past, you see. So the real freedom is realizing that this potential, this Buddha nature, this Dharma, this truth of liberation is always available. But only when you say, I've had enough. I've had enough of Groundhog Day. I've had enough of recycling my pain. I've had enough of grievances haunting me. I had enough of hoping for justice in the future. I've had enough of dreaming about the promised land. I've had enough of trying to restore America or restore myself, you see. Enough, you see. The buck stops here. The pain stops here. And the 4th of July begins here, you see. And when that happens, it just happens with one little firecracker. It doesn't have to be a big display. It just has to be a little flash, an idea. A single firecracker, a single rocket goes off. Bam! I'm not my thinking. I remember when I had that thought. It's not a thought. That's an idea. There's a difference between that. A thought just comes from memory. It's just like scenery of the brain, you know. Just noise, static, you know. But an idea has a light in it. An idea comes up fully blown. An idea comes up with a transformative seed in it. An idea comes up with a light in it. And that light is, I am not my thinking. And I remember having that thought. I was in my 20s. And that really began, I think, the hunger for the light. That little light bulb, that little firecracker, started the chain reaction of many little declarations of independence through my life. You begin to see the accumulation of pain and you say, enough, I want to look at it. Boom, a little fireworks. And then you have some more, you discover another layer of pain. And you say, enough, I feel this contraction. And then I say, this is the end of it, I want to look at it. Boom, another display. So that's the way it goes, you see. Boom, boom, boom. And each time, the light gets a little bigger, a little lighter, you see. It's kind of like Russian nesting dolls. You know, those things you can buy in Russia. You know, you open one, there's another one. You open another, and that's the layers, that's the pain body. You open a superficial pain, and you put some light on it, poof, and then there's another one. And then but you keep going. You keep going until it's gone. And that's the big fireworks. Then if pain comes up, you do something, there's a grievance, boom, you can clean it up right away. Because you don't want it. You don't want grievances. You don't want this pain. You don't want the contraction of it. You see. You like freedom. You like being free from time. You like being creative. You like being at peace with yourself. And when you're at peace with yourself, you're at peace with the world, because you and your world are one. You are the world and the world is you. Peace with yourself, peace with the world. And it's a creative relationship, because our fundamental essence, you see, is creativity. The cosmos is creative. It's not a dead star. It's a living, creative planet. Cosmos, the whole thing it's not just Earth is separate from the rest of it. The whole thing is a web. The whole thing is a field. The whole cosmos is one organism. Everything independent, mutually related. Systems working within systems. It's all balanced. It's all creative. Creating new wholes, creating new ideas, creating new worlds, you see. So let that be your Declaration of Independence. And so when you, as we think about the 4th and fireworks, think about it from that perspective. It changes the way you look at it. Thanks for dropping in, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.